We're going for a, I don't know, 90s art teacher therapist vibe. I was kind of thinking, what would Sinclair from Living Single wear for this kind of a thing? I think this is perfect. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Monica and I wanted to make a video about advice and like little tidbits from my therapist. This was inspired from like just seeing all of these hauls for stuff, and I wanted to make one that was about things you could actually use, little tidbits in your life. It's always nice to have tools you can stick in your toolbox, and it's nice to know you're not alone. And some of these might be cliche or like,
I'm 14 and this is deep.
But sometimes cliche things are true. Not gonna try and pretend like I know everything, or I'm not a therapist, I'm not a healthcare professional, but it's just things I've learned over the years having anxiety and just working on myself and whatnot. And sometimes you just need to hear simple things from other people. There's a couple of things that my therapist has told me that just seem so obvious, but you need someone outside of yourself to tell you that. Also, some of these might not work for you, and that's okay. To kind of jumpstart my ideas for this video, I went on a Reddit thread, I'll link it in the description, and saw a lot of things in there that would not work for me, that I was just like, ugh. But everyone's brain's different things work for different people. I'm gonna have two parts of this video. One is just general tidbits, and then the other one is more focused on like anxiety, anxious thoughts. So here we go. You can just leave. Something that my therapist told me is if I'm in a spot where I'm just not comfortable being anymore, I can just go. Like, there's no reason why I should have to stay there. So you can just leave. Some people will never be happy no matter what you do for them because they themselves are empty inside. They're not happy with themselves, so don't waste your time trying to please them. You're wasting your energy. Also, these types of people just move the goalposts anyway. You do something for them that they wanted you to do, you appease them, and it's a never ending, you're never done. And they're just gonna keep expecting things. Sometimes you won't hear, I'm sorry, because that person just can't say it. It's too hard for them. But a good close second is, I was wrong, because it's kind of the same thing. You don't have to forgive, but you have to move on. I don't really believe in forgiving people. Some people don't deserve forgiveness, especially when they know they did something wrong. But you don't have to forgive them, but you do have to find peace. Also, apologies without a change in behavior means nothing. If someone keeps doing stuff to you and they keep apologizing, but they never change, keep them at arm's length. Or cut them off, whatever you want to do. Your relationship to that person's at your discretion. Sometimes closure comes and it's anticlimactic, but you have to make peace within yourself so that you don't keep wasting brain juice on that other person. Here's one we've heard a million times, but I'm just saying it again. You can't control others, but you can control your reactions. You're not responsible for other people's happiness or feelings. To an extent, don't be a dick. But like how I mentioned, some people will never be happy. That is not your problem. That is something they need to work on within themselves. No is a complete sentence. That's it. You don't owe anyone an explanation, nothing, just no. People who are difficult to be around, or just difficult in general, are usually projecting their insecurities on you or other people. But as I mentioned before, that's stuff that they have to work on within themselves. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to, I guess if you want to help them, but they have to be receiving of that help. And if they don't want to receive that help, then you just kind of have to wash your hands of that. But also, you don't have to take their shit. I know someone very close to me, very dear to me, who no matter what he does, there are people in his family who just they cannot congratulate him. They just don't seem to give a shit. So there have been multiple times in his life where there's something to celebrate and they just have a hard time saying congratulations if they say it at all. And so what we do in that situation is we just remember that it's their insecurities and move on with our lives. What else can you do? Sometimes you just got to be your own cheerleader. Sit down with yourself and iron out your feelings. It's not good to just stuff them down and ignore them and think that they'll go away. They won't. They're going to live in your brain. It's going to drive you nuts. But sit with yourself and think where these thoughts are coming from. Are they coming from you? Are they coming from your weasel brain? Is it a lie someone told you that you started to think was true? Don't suppress your feelings or emotions because they're just going to fester. They're going to fester like a little background task that's taking up all the memory on your computer. Sometimes things will just pop into my head as I'm driving, showering, and if I can, I sit down with myself, journal it out, try and figure out where they're coming from, have a good cry if I have to. Because when you sit with yourself about it and you journal it and whatever, especially if you journal about it, you probably won't think about it again, at least not as often. To illustrate this in a nice way, I found this poem on Pinterest. It says, you should dance with the skeletons in your closet, learn their names so you can ask them to leave. Have coffee with your demons. Ask them important questions like, what keeps you here? Learn what doors they keep finding open. and kick them out. And that's a really nice, literally poetic way of what I'm trying to poorly articulate. However, progress isn't linear, which is important to know in general, but you might iron stuff out, you might journal it down, really think about it, but sometimes it'll pop into your head from time to time. But that's okay. Everything's a process. Eventually, you will never have that thought in your head ever again. But in the interim, don't beat yourself up about it. I'm trying to hork down water so that I don't have gross mouth noises. I'm so sorry if there are any gross mouth noises in this video. You may need to grieve or sit with a past version of you or someone else. My therapist told me I needed to sit down with 15-year-old me, teenager me, and listen to her, where she was coming from. Try to put myself back into that space and understand what I needed, what wasn't available to me, how other people in my life responded or didn't respond. So I had to put myself in that headspace and think about some things, iron some stuff out, sit with myself, and just, do all that work and move on. Related, don't let that hurt child make your grown-up decisions. I heard that from Kylie Sonique Love on an All-Stars season of RuPaul's Drag Race. And I paused the TV and sat there and was like, damn, she's right. You can throw a pity party for yourself, but don't let it become a pity festival. Go be sad, go have some mac and cheese, a good cry, put on your comfort show, but don't wallow in it. Don't wallow in it so long that you have a tough time getting out of it. I've done that. I've made that my everyday, and it took me forever to get out of it. I mentioned it previously, journaling. Journaling's really good, because think about how good you feel after you've vented to somebody. Journaling is kind of the same, but you're writing it down. Sometimes you can't talk it out with somebody. Maybe there's like a complicated relationship with somebody or something, and you wouldn't talk to them about it, but you can journal about it. Don't let your mind be like a junk drawer with all of the thoughts rolling around in there. Get them out of there. Maybe keep a journal by your bed, because sometimes I have trouble falling asleep because I just have reoccurring, stupid, ruminating thoughts that they're really dumb and they keep me awake for no reason. So sometimes I'll write stuff down and I'll never think about them again because they're taken care of. They're somewhere else. Be sure to write down the good stuff too. That way you can refer back to it when you're kind of feeling down or unsure of yourself. You can let yourself know that you've done this before and you can do it again. And see how far you've come. You don't know everyone's motivations or intentions. Sometimes people do have patterns. Like there's people who do little favors or whatever for you that maybe you didn't ask for. Everything's got strings attached. But sometimes there aren't strings attached. And so you just kind of have to take things at face value, because you don't want to work yourself up over nothing. If someone's bothering you, write a letter to them. You don't have to actually send it to them. This is good if you can't really confront that person. Maybe it's an old boss and you don't want to burn bridges, professionally. So just write a letter, and when you're done, crumble it up, put it in the garbage. If you want, you can send it through the mail. Just send it back to yourself and then throw it out. This is similar to journaling, where you're just getting it all out. When dealing with or talking to people, don't shrink yourself. Don't soften your language. Don't be vague. Don't hedge. Hedge means saying I think instead of I know. Reason being because these people will just walk all over you. I used to do it because I wanted to avoid conflict in a way. I don't know, it sounds stupid saying it out loud. You know what, that's another tidbit. Say stuff out loud. Say your weird little weasel thoughts out loud. I can guarantee a lot of it sounds like bullshit. It sounds really stupid. But something I do, there's someone in my life that is they can't take no for an answer. And so she asked me a question, and I've been more, definitive and confident and stuff in my answers and stuff now. So I said no, and she was trying to are you sure? Blah, 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 trying to walk all over me, trying to convince me, whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, did my phone cut out? I said, no, thank you. And she was like, no, it didn't cut out. And so but I just left it at that. I was just like, oh, okay. I just left it at that. Be tactful, don't be bitchy, but, stand your ground. You can't give some people room. You give them an inch, they take a mile. This one's a little cheesy, maybe a little cliche, but it's cute. Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Don't people please. If you're a people pleaser and you just say yes all the time because you don't want to upset anybody, it's going to take a long time to unlearn that. But believe me, it's freeing. It's very freeing. And I just want to interrupt this whole thing. Use these little pieces of advice at your discretion. You can't just be a dick to somebody. You have to be tactful, know the situation, know the person, kind of try and think of in the future? How will this impact my relationship with that person? Is it worth it? Is the drama worth it? Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a pick your battle situation. Yeah, you don't want to burn any bridges. Kind of sort of related, don't make things about yourself. Sometimes when I'm in a situation that involves other people and I have to make a decision about something, family get together, whatever, I'll kind of run it through my head. Am I making this kind of sort of about me and why I can't calm or whatever? And if I kind of am sort of thinking too much about myself in a selfish way, then I'll try not to. Again, it's all about balance. This is another one specifically from my therapist. She said, both people can't be melancholic. Let me explain. So a few years ago, my husband was in a different job and he kept getting passed up for promotions and internal jobs and whatnot. So he asked his higher ups, what kind of person are you looking for? They told him what kind of person they're going to be hiring for. So he put himself through school. This is going to be a little long-winded. He put himself through school on our own dime. I just want to clarify what I mean by this, on our own dime. The place where he worked offered to pay for the classes, but they were only going to pay for like one class a semester, and this was a 2-year certificate. So he would be taking a couple of classes a semester and would have taken forever for him to get this certificate. And he tried to work full-time, go to school full-time, gave himself shingles because of the stress. And he was about 2 weeks before he got his certificate, and they told him, oh, there's no budget for this job anymore. So roller coaster of emotions, all of the feelings, all of the crying, all of the anger, it was turbulent. This was also while we were closing on our first home. So we were like, what the frick? I called my therapist and she was like, okay, both of you can't be, going crazy here. Somebody's got to have a level head. So what I did was I just processed everything and I didn't stuff it down or anything, but I processed what was going on, and then I just had to shift gears. I had to get into a headspace where I could think and just, uplift him and move forward. And then after that, he got a nice job, a better job, and the rest is history. If something crazy happens to you, big T traumatic, small T traumatic, definitely process that. I was in a car accident. I thought that because I wasn't horribly injured and that my car wasn't totaled, everything's fine. Couldn't be more wrong. Okay? Really should have. I think I went to work the next day. I'm pretty sure I went to work the next day. Very stupid. What I should have done is had the day off, sat in bed, just relax and process it and rest. And I didn't do that. I went back to work the next day. My therapist told me that PTSD starts showing up like 6 months to 12 months after the event. And this was right on time. So there was a car accident. I was planning a wedding. People were driving me nuts. I had a horrible job and I was in a deep depression over that. And then my sister was going through some stuff. About 6 months-ish, 9 months after the car accident, my brain broke. And now I have anxiety and anxiety symptoms. So if something happens to you, make sure you write it down, journal it down, talk to somebody, talk to a professional, just talk to anybody, get it out and really process it so that you can kind of keep a level head. Creating stuff can be very therapeutic. I like painting sometimes and doing collage and little posters that have like therapy type stuff on it. I have this one in my shop. So I definitely recommend making stuff and putting your emotions and feelings into a piece of work. Set your boundaries, but don't protect your peace too much where you become distant. And then you have to deal with that drama. There have been some YouTubers that have made videos about this. I think we're all collectively realizing that there is a nice middle ground between, setting your boundaries, like I said, and protecting yourself, but also, making sure that you're not losing community and connection. I kind of went through a phase like that too, some in part because of my anxiety. I do wish that I was more involved. And now I kind of can't get that time back. So again, it's about balance. Don't be the too distant guy. After all, inconvenience is the price you pay to have friends, family, community connections. Everyone's gone through something. Everyone has a different toolbox. Sometimes you just have to meet someone where they're at and give them grace. You are not a burden. You're allowed to take up space, and you have every right to be here. I was raised in a way where I was taught to be very courteous and conscientious of everybody that was around me and whatnot. But for some reason, my brain internalized that as don't be in someone's way. If you're in someone's way, you're a burden, you're a problem. I don't know why, but it did, and so now I'm unlearning that. It took a while. I used to, if I was at a red light at the front in the right lane and you could turn on red, but I was going forward and the person behind me had their turn signal on to make a right, I would also make a right because I didn't want to be in that person's way. If I wasn't there, he could have made a right on red because I didn't want to be in that person's way. I have since stopped doing that because that's crazy. That's just how driving works. Sometimes you get unlucky and you're trying to make a right and the person in front of you is going forward and you just can't go. Oh well, that's life. Also, there was one time I was at Target and I was like getting my card out of my purse and putting it in the card reader, and just everything was just like very hasty and fast and quick to get out of the way. And the cashier noticed and she said something to the, I don't remember the exact words, but she said something to the effect of, "You have every right to be here." And it was just like, she didn't even have to say anything, but that's always stuck with me, and it was just really nice to hear. And so I'm passing it on to you. You have every right to be here. Don't feel like you're a burden. You're not a burden, and you're allowed to take up space. I have since relaxed this idea of being a burden and worry of being a burden, actually through going to the gym and just getting more confidence and knowing that I belong here, and that just translates to everything else in my life. Don't let people live rent-free in your head. That gives them power. Don't give them that power, especially people who play mind games. Don't let them. This is another example of how journaling, writing it down, whatever that person did to piss you off, just write it down, get rid of the piece of paper, it's over, done, stop thinking about it. Don't waste your brain power trying to figure them out. All emotions are valid, but not all actions are. Basically, don't do anything that you might regret. Sometimes you just gotta walk away when someone bothers you. You're allowed to say no. Something else I saw in that Reddit thread was a comment, and the person said, "I get to say no, I get to say yes, I get to make choices too." You're allowed to say no. You can make choices too. Mind your consumption habits, and I'm not talking about just food and buying stuff. I know this is gonna sound a little ironic coming from a video on the internet, but everything in moderation, right? I love the internet, but I can't be on it too long. I can't doom scroll. I feel terrible. It feels like my brain is a sponge that weighs 1,000 pounds or something. It's terrible. Everyone has their junk food version of content, so just be mindful of how much you're consuming of that. I have heard takes, we were never meant to know this many people or know about this many people. We were never meant to have this much information, and a lot of the information is crap. There's so much crap information out there, and we're just bombarded by it every day. I used to watch a lot of commentary channels like Jay Aubrey and The Right Opinion, and I would watch videos on people I had never heard of. But for some reason, I felt like I should have known about the drama that was going on. And just one day, I was like, I don't need to know any of this information. I shouldn't know any of this information. So I stopped watching it, and honestly, I felt better. Again, we all have our guilty pleasures, but just be intentional and aware of what you're consuming. And literally go out and touch grass sometimes. Okay, and the last one for the general bits, go to the gym. Please go to the gym. There's so much evidence, and empirical evidence as well, saying that going to the gym helps with your mood, and it's not just your health, it really helps with your mental health, and like I said, your mood and stuff like that. And maybe this is far-fetched, but knowing that I'm artificially stressing myself out at the gym, I can handle real stress or real anxiety when I'm out and about. I hope that makes sense. And I'm not saying you have to get involved with like heavy lifting or powerlifting or strongman or anything like that. I personally love powerlifting. I'm doing Wendler's 531 right now, and I've seen great progress, but you can get the benefits of exercise just doing other things. There's tons of programs out there. Just find one that's right for you. The one you're having fun with is the correct one. Okay, so now we're at the anxiety bits part of the video. And as I mentioned earlier, my brain cracked in 2017. So I've been dealing with it for about 8 years now. The main symptom is IBS. It's not fun. There's a Facebook group about it, but I feel like there isn't a whole lot of people that talk about it being an anxiety symptom because it's gross and it's weird and it's kooky, but it's definitely a thing. But anyway, the anxiety thoughts are two predominant ones. They're intrusive thoughts, basically. The first one being, what if I get surprise diarrhea and I don't make it to the bathroom, or there isn't a bathroom? And number two, kind of related, what if I soil myself and ultimately embarrass myself? So these are the thoughts. I think they stem from a point in my life when I was eating really unhealthy, and there was a summer where I was just queasy. Every day my stomach was just in knots. I should have gone to the doctor, but I didn't. And sometimes I would get surprise stomach aches, and I would have to find a bathroom with some immediacy. And here's another thing. If you figure out where your anxiety comes from or your intrusive thoughts, you're not gonna be cured. I really thought if I figured out where my anxiety comes from and where the poop thing comes from, I would be cured and it would go away, but it didn't. It's still there. It won't go away. It's there now, and you can only treat it. At first, I thought I had agoraphobia because I was afraid to leave my house, but that's not really what it was. But anyway, a lot of these tidbits come from that point of view where you're afraid to be somewhere without a safety measure, I guess. Mine being a bathroom. Those imagined scenarios in your head, stop. Stop making stuff up. They're not going to happen. They're not productive. You're wasting your time and your energy, and you need your energy for better things. Related, that phrase, cross the bridge when you get to it, keep that in your back pocket. I use that one all the time because you can't be freaking out. Again, you can't be making up scenarios that probably won't happen. It's hard to have your anxiety spiral out of control when you have that thought process of, I'm not going to worry about it until it happens. It's a little cliche, but cliche isn't necessarily wrong. Your body listens to you. So if you say, I can't do this, it's going to be like, I guess we can't do this. If you catastrophize something, it's going to panic. So something I like to do to whack-a-mole the anxiety thoughts away is a part of the dream method. This is something that I found on the Reddit. A is for amend, and that is changing your language. So instead of saying something is bad, you just say it's not good. Because you're still saying the word good, it tricks your brain into not freaking out. If you need to use medication or trinkets or anything to help you get through your day, get through your anxiety symptoms, the situation you're in, use them. You're not a failure. I used to think that I was a failure if I had to use a CBD gummy or Pepto or something like that. And my therapist said, you don't begrudge someone with an ailment for taking their medication, right? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, why do you do that to yourself? And I was like, oh. And also, who cares? If you need to use something, use it. You're not a failure at all. Obviously within reason. I'm talking about like Imodium and stuff like that. Ground yourself. I like doing one thing I can see, smell, taste, feel, and hear. That kind of distracts your brain a little bit. Also focusing on your breathing. I used to think that was a bunch of baloney, but it really does just kind of reset you and you focus on something else again. And body scans will work too. You can start at your head and go down to your toes, or you can start at your toes and go up to your head. You just kind of make note of, this is how my toes feel, this is how my knees feel, this is how my hips feel. Sometimes if you have a symptom, you just have to make it part of your routine. This is another tidbit from my therapist. So with the IBS, I would have to go before I went anywhere. This included the gym. It took me so long to go to the gym without having the symptoms. And at the time, the gym was only 4 minutes away. And it was really dramatic. My body was being really dramatic. But my therapist told me to make it part of your routine. You get your gym clothes on, you put your shoes on, you get your water bottle, and you go to the bathroom, and then you go. And after I changed that mindset to just making it part of my routine, it rarely even happens anymore. Your anxiety is lying to you. You're gonna have stupid thoughts that make no sense, but don't grab hold of them. I really like this little, not sponsored, this little Headspace video about the cars, and it's just about, think of your thoughts as cars passing on the road, right? You're just watching them go by. You're not thinking too much about them, you're not grabbing onto them, you don't get trapped in them, you just watch them go by. You've done this before, you can do it again. That's something I tell myself all the time. And I also think about times where I've been in a worse situation and I've gotten out of that and everything was fine. Meditate. Again, not sponsored, but I recommend the Headspace app. It's really good. They specifically have a series on anxiety, and that really helped me. I can't explain how or why, but you just become more in tune with your body and with your mind, and you just kind of let stupid, anxious thoughts slide away. It's really calming. It teaches you how to let go of stress. I highly recommend it. If you have symptoms like I do, I recommend figuring out a way to communicate the symptoms to your partner. I have what's called a popcorn system because my husband and I used to live in an apartment that it was an old house that was converted into an upper lower apartment, and they kept the butler's pantry. So there was a kitchen, and then off of the kitchen there was a little pantry, and there was a window in the pantry. And so like the first step of the popcorn tier list was, okay, editing Monica here for the third time. When I initially recorded this, I left some like words out and stuff, and it didn't make sense hearing it back. So I'm going to try and better explain this silly little system for you. So we had this pantry, and there was a little window off of the pantry. Here's a picture of a pantry of similar build. So the first tier is basically the wind, the breeze from the window is opening and closing the cabinet a little bit. It's kind of like, wafting it open and closed a little bit. Then the door is open. Then the popcorn is out of the box, but it's still in the pantry. It's still in the cabinet. Then the popcorn is on the counter. and then the popcorn moves into the kitchen, and then it's on the kitchen table, and then it's in the microwave, and then it's being cooked in the microwave, and then the popcorn is burnt. And that runs the whole gamut of symptoms from starting to be like bubbly and bloated all the way up to, oh, I need a bathroom now. And that's really helped us with communicating where I'm at. And it's really worked because also you don't have to explain while you're kind of sort of in the middle of an anxiety attack. This is a big one, exposure therapy. This one is tough and it's a little scary, but it's also in the same realm of, you've done it before, you can do it again. You just have to keep exposing yourself to the thing. During COVID, I worked from home every day, but after things were getting lifted over time, they wanted me back into the office. And it took me like 3 months to get back to having no symptoms on the to or from commute. It took a while, but the exposure therapy of it all worked, and now I don't have any issues at all. So sometimes you just got to do the thing to know that you can do the thing again or more often. Also, something kind of weird, I've personified my anxiety, like I gave it a name. And then when it's acting up, I just yell at it. And yelling at it really works. You just tell it to go away, or, you have no power over me or whatever. And it helps, it does work. Don't let yesterday take too much of today. I have a cute little sticker that says that, and I really love that sentiment. Another reason to journal. Get it all out so you're not worrying about the same stuff tomorrow. So to wrap this all up, a lot of this is over time reprogramming your brain. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of time. It's not going to happen overnight. And again, I want to reiterate some of these things, use at your discretion. Again, just don't be a dick to somebody in the name of setting boundaries. There's tact and knowing the situation and knowing the person. But these have really helped me. I hope they help you. And if you've been thinking about going to therapy, I highly recommend it. I got lucky. The first one I saw, we hit it off. It was great. I know some people who their first one, they had to find another one because they didn't really vibe. You can find one that you vibe with. I wouldn't be deterred if your first one is kind of like, not that great. You should be able to find another one. If cost is an issue, you can find one that does a sliding scale payment option. If you go onto Psychology Today, I think it's psychologytoday.com, you can search for therapists in your area, and there's a filter option for sliding scale therapists, which means you can pay whatever you can afford. Again, I hope this video helped. Have you been to therapy? Has it helped you? What are some tidbits you like to use? Be sure to comment below. Until next time, bye.